Right. We are live. We are live in three. Hey, this is Wicke Spursy. Mike and Steve, no D today. No Dave. So if you are here looking for the D, we can't give it to you tonight.
You'll be getting no D from us.
Not tonight. No, sorry. It's, holidays. It's that last week of the year between Christmas and New Year where time is sort of meaningless. And I mean, I don't even know what day it is anymore, but we're here. And Mike, good to see you. How are you? How are things going?
Steve, I've I've been having some headaches and stuff, and we'll just get this right out of the way right off the top here. Excuse me. I've been having some headaches and stuff, and so I went to the doctor the other day. I had some blood work done last Thursday. As I was driving in, I felt a little scratch in my throat. I'm like, "What is going on, man? Doesn't feel right." And then it just kind of went away. I felt perfectly fine. And then like Saturday evening, after we had hung out and stuff, I felt like it's like, oh shit, I can feel it must have been like the start of my cold process, my seasonal cold process. I get this cold like 2 3 times a year, at least 2 times a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, or in the holiday season. It always happens. So I was like, all right, I just have a cold. So long story short, we get through Christmas and everything. I'm not feeling my best. I'm feeling pretty stuffy. And um, I'm on call for work on Christmas Day. So I go in, my wife takes the kids down to her mom's house, and they're having a good old fashioned, family Christmas. And Amy texts me, Lucas has a fever. I'm like, oh shit. All right. So immediately I thought the worst. So I went home that night, went to sleep. I worked all day long, went to sleep, got up in the morning and tested for COVID. And sure enough, I was positive for COVID. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah, I think I'm gonna blame the two Everton fans that Dave Martin brought to our pub.
Yeah, that
I'm
tracks.
gonna blame them. That'll be my blame, because they're not gonna listen. I don't think Dave's gonna listen either. Um, and if he is, Dave, I'm calling you out. That it's the other Dave. It's a different Dave, not our
Different
Dave.
Dave, not the D to our wicked Spursy.
Yes. Yeah, tonight we're just Wicke Spursy.
Wiki
Um,
Spursy tonight.
so anyway, long story short, I've had COVID all week apparently so far, and I'm supposed to fly out to New Orleans on Friday. Um,
Nolans.
Nolans. So I've
Yeah.
just about this evening turned the corner. Um, my stuffiness is going away. I don't have a sore throat, no fever or anything. Um, and I called my employee health, and they said, according to guidance, you're allowed to go. I'm obviously going to wear a mask. I'm not going to take the chance of infecting anybody, but I am I'm going to be plus 7 days out
Nice.
from my infectious period. So it'll all be good. We'll go and I'll have a good time and try and get over the bad cold that COVID has given me. How about you, Steve?
I'm good. Everything's kind of blurring together. It's weird when a holiday falls on a Monday for me because it's like you've got the weekend and then the weekend just sort of keeps going and then all of a sudden it's Wednesday and what happened to Tuesday? I have no recollection of there being a Tuesday. It's one of those funky things.
Did
But I'm
Tuesday
off
actually
work. Yeah,
happen?
who the fuck knows, man. But I'm off work all week. Daycare's closed, so watching the kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been pretty good. We've been kind of slowly approaching some of the toys and activities that he's gotten for Christmas. Um, Trying to space things out so that they last the week. Like he got this cool earth science kit. And so we'll do like one activity a day out of that just to start working through it. So he was able to like dig for his own pyrite in this little like fake gold bar thing. We built
Oh,
a
neat.
yeah, we did a volcano yesterday, made it out of plaster, mixed all the stuff up, let it explode out. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet he
Uh,
had a blast with that.
oh yeah, he loved it. There's a couple other things like one of them's like growing your own crystals. So just things like that. He's got a couple of Lego sets that we've been slowly working through, just like the small little ones for like 4-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. It gives us something to do. It parses things out. Couple of he got a couple of new board games that are kid friendly that we've been playing through, which I just it's something, it's not TV, it's not a lot of it's educational. He's practicing his counting and his moving and a lot of that, fine motor skill stuff. So it's been a solid week so far. But yeah, it's
Nice.
man, when I I was literally sitting in the living room and Natalie, my wife, she just goes, uh, don't you have to go? I was like, go for oh, it's Wednesday. It's Wicke Spursy time.
I had the same kind of situation. I was like, where has the time gone? But I was supposed to go back to work today and they told me no. But you know, we had a great Christmas, very tech heavy in my house. The boy got the VR, and of course he's been playing gorilla tag. I don't know, if you know what that is, but it's
I can
basically,
guess.
yeah, it's virtual reality gorilla parkour, like you're a gorilla. Um, and I tried to play it yesterday while they were gone, and I got constructors. It's basically Call of Duty. It's a Call of Duty type game, but like they have all the maps from like all the cool games: Halo, Call of Duty, Duke Nukem, Star Wars games, that kind of stuff. They have all those maps. I tried to play it, and I was on that thing for maybe 20 minutes before I got dizzy, disoriented, and I was sitting down, Steve, sitting down. But
Oh no.
he's got no problem with it. But I got a lot of cool stuff. I got this neat new Spurs
Yeah.
Stange. And I got this really cool cup too that we'll be doing Hey Mike with today. It says this is from my lovely wife. It's called Tastes Like a Spurs Win. And I'm gonna use that often, I think. Speaking of Spurs wins,
We won.
we won. Wasn't pretty.
Not even remotely.
Wasn't pretty at all. What do
It's
you yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think like from the start? Like we had some fun lineup stuff that, there was a 50-50 chance of that number 6 player. I mean, we were either going to get Hoiberg or Skip, right? We know
yeah.
Skippy played that number 6 in when he was at Norwich on that loan, and he did it to great effect, but I mean it was a different kind of position. Norwich is very attacking, but they were it's it's not like there's a ton of pressing in the championship, right? So
Yeah.
so when he was at Norwich, he was able to have time to turn with the ball and attack. Whereas like a lot of these teams we're playing now, especially in Everton, like they have forward players that are gonna press up on you, and they're gonna press up on you hard. And I mean, Skippy did for me. He was good. He was fine. He was not the greatest. I think we saw what we were missing, not having Basuma back there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he did a job, and he didn't lose balls. His passing was pretty efficient. I think he had something like 88 to 90% passing rate. He didn't get beat on any one-on-ones. I just think he was just okay. He wasn't great. I think there were times where he was, just out of position, didn't know where he was going to be, where he was supposed to be. And I mean, obviously he hasn't played that position in this system yet, but um, I think he hasn't done anything to lose that spot for me. Like, I think we're going to see less and less of Hoiberg, especially with the shouts for the transfer to Juventus. What do you
Yeah,
think?
the interesting thing for me is I was reading a comment from Alistair Gold about Skip in particular, where he made this observation that Skip's performance looked better in person than it did on broadcast. I guess
Okay.
a lot of the work that he was putting in off the ball to either cover for people who had made forward runs or, to fill in some spaces and try to close down lanes was all done relatively well. It just wasn't picked up on the broadcast. So when you finally had that transition coming back towards Spurs, he always looked out of position.
He looked like he was there, just not. He was out of the play.
So that's one of those things I think that's interesting for me to consider. When we're having these conversations and we're thinking, oh, this person sucks. Like, what are they even doing out there? Maybe they do look better in person, but yeah, I mean, that to me, then it becomes an issue of is somebody supposed to slide in and cover for Skip when he's doing that and they're not? Or because to me there's still a disconnect, right? Like the way that Ange is playing, I would expect if things are starting to move in one direction that everything moves along with it, right? So that you fill in those gaps, those holes don't exist, you can cover each other, no big deal. um so it's either, yeah, Skip's doing what he's supposed to be doing, but maybe he's not communicating backwards to make sure that he's got help, or whoever's supposed to be filling in for him. I don't know. It's such a hodgepodge of players out there right now due to suspensions and injuries. It feels like whenever we have some sort of nice fluid moment where it seems like people are starting to click and figure it out, somebody gets injured and it throws everything off again.
Well, yeah, which happened with Romero, and we'll get to that. Just want to get back to that Skip thing too, because I think earlier in the season, and this is gonna be very telling for when we get into talking about Emerson Royale, and to your point of is there somebody who's supposed to be filling that space for him when he's not there? And I think that we saw, and that might have something to do a lot with how successful Basuma was in the early season too, because he was able to turn, move with the ball, control the ball really well, and push forward because he had somebody like Mickey Van de Ven who could come and fill that space. And Ben Davis doesn't venture out like Van de Ven does, right? Like he did early in the season for us. And I think that Ben Davis didn't have a great game either. I mean, that I just watched it back. It wasn't it might have been his worst game of the season so far, but also again, he has to stay back and he has to protect for two players now. He has to protect for Skip and he has to protect for Emerson Royale, both players who are super just out of position.
And he has to cover for Dyer, who is just not good. I don't know.
I,
You would think, you would think that he, at this point in his career, would be able to do the job needed as a center back, at least bang average, right? Like if Big Daddy Davies can do it, you would think Eric Dyer would be able to. But man, I tell you, as soon as I saw him coming out in that second half, I was like, this is awful. Like we will lose this game now. This is everything, like sky's falling. That was my level of frustration seeing him.
I
And
don't I
frankly, it almost did.
yeah, I don't think we really had another option. You had Ashley Phillips, who hasn't played a minute, just coming back from injury. We just didn't have another option out there. Um, because Emerson was already playing on the left hand side. Um, so I think that Dyer did what he did, and he wasn't fantastic. He didn't give balls away. Like he wasn't being Eric Dyer, but he was also playing on the right side of that defense. Um, and he has a little cover with a speedster like Pedro Porro, even though Pedro Porro looked like he was running around with his head cut off in that second half, probably trying to cover for Dyer, and be in those spaces that yeah Christian Romero would have been. I think for me, like this game it featured a lot of our players' worst games of the season. I think Richarlison was pretty terrible after his goal. Um, I think Kulusevski was actually kind of imperious. He's one of those guys who just refuses to have the ball taken from him. Um, and he works, his work rate is outrageous, off the ball, on the ball, it's outrageous. um Obviously we're going to get into the man of the match. Sonny looked tired out there. He looked worn ragged. I mean, 7 games in December is tough. 6 even, which is what they've played now. um and I'll give them that. I'll give them that.
But it's
I
also not going to get any easier.
It is not going to get any easier. We're gonna have players leaving, but let's get into the man who kept the game and saved the game for us and saved a lot of shots. Vicario was outrageous, and he showed why he, at the halfway mark, is going to be goalkeeper of the year in the Premier League. Um, we shared on our WhatsApp an article that, from the Athletic, which I think and is ultra lazy journalism. And they're saying that they had two kind of really pretty awful insults, to Tottenham. And I'm obviously we always bitch and complain about how Tottenham is never given the benefit of the doubt. We're always seem to be the bad guys for some reason, that everybody wants to beat up on and everybody wants to talk about. We're the butt of people's jokes. Um, but this article talked about how Spurs are relying too much on Vicario, but Vicario's just getting lucky.
Oh God, yeah, that was such a garbage take.
And obviously we talked about it with Dave, and that kind of shit is used as clickbait, right?
Oh, it
But
absolutely is.
yeah,
It's
so
either
like,
clickbait or it's somebody who's writing out of their ass and they don't know what they're talking about.
right, and it could be both here, right? Um, why can't it be that Vicario is just in good positions? Why can't it be that he's a smart keeper who knows what to do and what he's going to do before situations happen? Why can't it be that he's just a fucking really good young keeper? And it's because it's Tottenham Hotspur, and as much as I'd like to not bitch about it, I mean that's what it is. That's the situation. Just a good goalkeeper, and to do the things he's doing right now, yes, we are relying on him. You know why? Because we have 9 fucking injuries right now to first teamers,
Yep.
to players who were first teamers, nailed on first teamers. And and you know, my name tonight is Trial by Dire. I didn't see yours. Mine is mine is Vic by an inch, because he made that save at the end of the game, and he made a number of saves in that game, especially on one of the 2 players that I think turned that game around for Everton, and Arna Danjuma, who was a Spurs player last year. Um, I I really think that, like, the positions he puts himself in, I haven't seen him step a foot out of you know a foot out of form all season, except for that one time against Chelsea where he probably should have gone in with his feet, caused a foul. Um, but or was it Chelsea or West Ham?
Uh,
Oh no, that was the West Ham game. That was the West Ham game where he gave that goal up on the
oh
outside of the
yeah, yeah,
box.
yeah.
So either way, like, he's had one major screw up all season long, and you can't tell me that guy is not the keeper of the year so far.
But Onana,
Oh God, yeah, okay. I mean,
that
you can make a shout for Emi Martinez. He's a fucking lunatic. You can make a shout for Allison Becker, who is year after year just, I mean, one of the most beautiful goalkeepers you'll ever watch play.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, honestly, to be a keeper, you have to be a little bit crazy, I think. And that's what to me is so appealing about Vicario, because, he's not like one of those calm, reserved people that is probably crazy deep down, like Hugo was before. And he's got the crazy eyes going. He is like hyped up. He's all over the place.
He
Like,
makes faces.
dude, I that was pretty good. But it's like I said at the start of the season, right? He's going to be chaos. He's going to be one of those players who is either like stupid good for us and really enjoyable, or super scary and really frustrating. And I am really happy that he is the former,
Right.
because like, it's we put him under so much pressure at times. Emerson's bad giveaway, right? Uh, that led to a goal scoring opportunity. There's a couple of Skip had his pocket picked at least once, um, and they're all like with their they're facing goal. They should be able to catch up and you know regain possession, but it just well when it's somebody like Dyer, he's got fucking leading issues or some shit, but. Vicario's, he steps up. He closes down the angles. He makes himself big. Maybe he's got some mind games going on with the attackers at times. Like it does sound like, they kind of chat shit while they're out there. So yeah, maybe he's getting under their skin. But whatever he's doing, it's not luck. It is not at all. He is. I think even Ange said like he is emerging as a leader in the team.
Right.
And you could see that, right? When we had that first clean sheet after the after all those losses, and he brought all the defenders together to like celebrate, like that to me is pure leadership material. That's somebody who wants to just acknowledge it's not me as the goalie, it's all of us working together to, to achieve that. So yeah, I'm thrilled with everything Vic's doing. And yes, I do think he is better than Onana. And I think the people who are just throwing Onana's name out as best keeper in the league are just a part of the Man United circle jerk and are too biased to.
Yeah, I can name five keepers that are better than Onana right now. And I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination that he's a bad keeper. I think that he's probably one of the top keepers in the world when he's in the right club, and he's just not in the right club. He went for the big name and the big money, and that's why he's at Man United right now, and that's why Man United just sold what, a 25% stake to a British billionaire to try and understand the club, who's someone who can understand the club and turn it around. But it's not going to happen overnight, Man United fans. And Onana is not the best keeper in the league right now. Vicario is, and that's just the way it is. And speaking of guys who are starting to play into it and starting to show up, I want to give a special shout out to Brennan Johnson. Um, because this is a kid who was signed and brought in kind of late, yeah, for a lot of money. He's been taking a lot of shtick from fans on social media and shit. I don't see it myself. I think he does whatever he is asked to do. Sure, he's got one goal scored this season so far, but he has played on the right, he has played on the left, he has played in the center. He's been injured. Um, but I think when he's on his side, his given side, which is the right side, you saw the blistering fiery speed in that first goal that he possesses, and um, you know, and his ability to carry the ball and his nice touch, and boy, he put a beautiful cross in. For a Richarlison tap in, right? Richarlison coming up. That whole sequence of events. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that clip on social media 100 times, but that whole sequence of events there was just wild to me, and I think that's is kind of the hallmark of what this system is, and it's not just um pressing and it's not just pressing and attacking. It's counter pressing. Um it's it's imperious midfield play, nicking balls deep in your own zone and counter attacking. It's a little of everything. It's This system it can't be put into any kind of a box, and I think Brennan Johnson as he develops as a real true Premier League player, is going to be a huge asset to this team. And I think he might even end up being a starter long term. Um, but who knows? We might end up eventually by the end of this project with two full first teams. You never know.
Which honestly, if we're able to achieve some kind of European competition for next season, it's not a bad problem to have. Plenty of rotation, especially since like we're seeing with Ange's system, he wants them to constantly go. And the second we take our foot off the gas is when other teams start to grow into the game and become dangerous, right? Like once we got that second goal and backed off a little bit, because again, these guys they're probably tired and they're not really given 100%. It just made things so much more dangerous for us.
Yeah, I think
We shouldn't be doing that, but
I think the
we
game
have
changed.
to.
I think the game changed when Andre Gomez came on. Um, I mean, he's a guy who has been he's been injured all season, right? So like he just came back in. He's not a guy that we game planned for at all. Um, and I don't know that he's not the starter. Um, who was the guy who came off? Was it Gay who came off? Injured. It was like in the 25th minute. But I
Yeah,
think I think at that point the game, like we were in it to win it for the first 25-30 minutes of the game. And once Gomez came in, the game changed. He's one of those guys who's like um another one of those guys who refuses to have the ball taken from him. He's not very creative. He doesn't do a lot of shit, but he dribbles. And he moves his way through the midfield pretty easily because the ball just sticks to his feet. And I've never rated him before until this game, until that shot that he put in. I mean, that was a hell of a goal. Another guy that I really rate is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I love watching him play, but I think like the Andre Gomez substitution and the Danjuma substitution really is what made it scary for us. You know,
yeah, absolutely. That I don't know, man. That entire last hour of the game, last 45, I actually, even though things started to take a turn in the first half, I still felt relatively comfortable. It wasn't until I'm telling you, it wasn't until Romero came off for Dyer that I really felt like, oh shit, like Everton actually has a chance to get into this. Um,
oh Dan Juma blew by him a number of times, right? He
because
had
he's
he
got
had three
fucking lead in
shots
his
in the
shoes,
last
man.
he had three shots in the last what 10 minutes of the game that
It's just
could have easily
insane.
gone in. Right, it is insane.
Oh
And
my God.
until we get rid of our Dyer problem, and it's not gonna be this season. We're not gonna get rid of him this season. He may be back, at the training pitch, working by himself, pretty soon here once we get Mickey back in a couple of weeks. But I just don't think the Dyer problem is gonna go away until the end of the season. It's not gonna
No,
be in this window.
it's oh God. Which honestly that concerns me, especially like if Brighton was at full strength for tomorrow, I would be scared shitless of having Dyer in that back line because they've got some pacey players, but they're probably the one other team, maybe Newcastle right now, who is really just getting boned by all these injuries that are coming out. But
Yeah.
Mike, you've had me doing a lot of soul searching here with this commentary and thinking about the game, and it really got me thinking. And I think you're the correct person to ask this particular question.
Hmm.
Um, hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Oh. I'm glad you can ask that question, Steve, because I'm finally feeling better at the point where I can be drinking. Um,
This is a safe space for you, Mike.
and I promised you guys that I would do a Christmas ale um before the end of the new year. Um, I haven't seen
Oh,
this one before. This one is from Two Roads.
that is very Christmassy.
Yeah, and it's a holiday ale. I don't know anything about it. I haven't looked it up. I don't know what it's about at all. holiday ales are generally they're generally heavier, malty ales, red, usually red in color, um, usually usually pretty bubbly, um, but they're brewed with all the holiday spices out that we think of, the nutmegs, the cinnamons, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and it really gives a nice spicy taste to what is probably at the base a red ale of some sort, um, or even a brown ale. Um, so this is brewed by Two Roads, which um, we didn't mention last week when we were talking about. Was it last week we were talking about um, Lawson's Sip of Sunshine?
Oh yeah, Lawson's. That's
That's where
right.
this is brewed. That's so Two Roads is where Sip of Sunshine is brewed.
Ah,
And
okay, okay.
if you've ever had Road to Ruin by Two Roads, um, it tastes very similarly to Sip of Sunshine.
Interesting, interesting. I did
Also,
not know that.
I did have a question for the pod that
A
was sent to
question
me.
for us
Yeah,
during.
well, it was a question for Mike, really.
Oh, but you're Mike.
I am Mike. Um, so it was a question for me about experimental hops. I had a photo sent to me in the extra inch Discord on the beer thread, and it was from Adomalist, and he asked, "What's the deal with experimental hops? What does that mean?" So I just wanted to kind of answer that now, and I'll answer it in the chat too. But
What
um,
does it mean?
experimental hops are hops um, that breeders have made that are not viable yet for the market. So they generally don't have a name. Um, and they generally come from one of three big hop farms in the world. There's one in New Zealand, there's one in the United States, and I think there's one in Germany, but I can't be positive about that. Um, but they're typically just until they become viable, and widely used and accepted. They are not named, um, and they are um, typically proprietary, right? So all these other companies, hop growing companies, can brew their or can grow their own hops. Now that Citra and things like Citra and Mosaic, and what's there's a couple other ones that are brand new. New Zealand hops are brand new. Um, that now have names, so they're not proprietary anymore. They're not being developed so they can be viable for a large market. So that's what experimental hops means. So they're being used in a lot of beers now just to test their viability on the market on a larger scale. So back to this
Huh.
beer. Like I said, it's based like a red or brown ale, and it smells like
Teen Spirit.
it doesn't smell like Teen Spirit. It smells like a normal brown ale, which will be very disappointing if it doesn't. It smells rather sweet. It's
Interesting.
rather sweet and malty. It doesn't. It's not like Anchor Steam does a Christmas ale that I really love every year, um, and it doesn't smell like that. It doesn't have that spicy character to it.
Well, about time to find out. I'm gonna have to text Dave with my thoughts so that he knows that I'm not cheating on him. Oh, God,
Um,
it's never a good sign when you go right back to the can to be like,
I'm trying to. No, it's a good beer. Um, I'm just like I don't understand. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that taste of a good Christmas ale. Um, so
what did you get like a Scrooge can?
I must have. I'm looking at the Beer Advocate right now.
Oh,
Let's see.
good God. Is the lone freighter on there? We haven't heard
It's
from him in a
inspired by a
while.
little known Bière de Noël style, a subset of the Bière de Garde. which originated small farmhouse breweries in North France. That's what it is. It's French. Um,
Oh,
it translates to Christmas beer. Imagine that. Um,
it's French.
yeah,
Stick to wine, France.
it doesn't give us anything else. I don't I don't I don't rate this beer. I'll drink it. It's fine. Um, it doesn't give us any information on it. No hops information, anything like that. Uh, what they use
I
in the
want you to
brewing of this
know.
beer. It's just okay. It tastes like a brown ale, and it's not the COVID speaking because this German Kolsch that I'm drinking is delicious. Um, I can taste it. I can smell it. It's fine. It doesn't have much of a head on it. It's got no lacing at all, really, unless I get it really going. Um,
Gotta get it going.
that said, I'm gonna give it another sip, and I'll give you my rating, my song.
All right. I'm ready to hit enter so that we know that I've locked this in. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Go.
3.1.
Oh, so close. So close.
2.9. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's not a bad beer. Um, it doesn't come off as a holiday beer to me. Christmas ale. It says 7.3 alcohol. It doesn't it okay. Um, so yeah. Uh
Damn.
you know what? I'm gonna go with the Temptations.
Temptations.
Yep. Just my
Okay.
imagination.
Just my imagination. Why that one in particular?
Um, because I imagined it to be a great beer. I imagined it to be a nice Christmas ale that I've been waiting. I bought it right before Christmas and I've been waiting to taste it.
Okay, okay. I've got to ask. This is probably going above and beyond what you normally do, but given the spirit of this season, I have to ask if you had to pick one holiday song to assign that mediocre beer, which of those holiday songs out there is the most mediocre one that comes closest to what that beer tastes like for you?
Hot take.
Hot take. Oh, I'm
Hot
here
take.
for it.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. That makes perfect sense to
That
me.
fucking song is so fucking terrible. And it's so overplayed.
It's oh yeah, it's definitely overrated
I
for
can't stand that
sure.
song. I cannot stand that song. But thank you for asking that question. That was a good one.
Look, I needed to, and look,
I'm
having
sorry I'm being
worked,
such a Grinch right now. I mean, I wanted this.
having worked retail, throughout high school and a little bit in college, that song, "All I Want for Christmas Is You," is like the bane of my existence. It was like at least 5 times an hour was coming on during this period, and you're there 8 hours a day. Like, no, I can't deal with it. So I am 100% on board with that assessment. Um,
Perfect.
so
I could
this
have
was
also gone Santa Baby.
Santa. That's another, yeah, that's another one.
She's a little
Uh,
slutty, but
yeah, yeah, for sure. So this has been, hey Mike, that's Two Roads holiday beer, is it called? I don't know. You could just
Bière de Noël holiday ale.
if
Let
it
Dave
it
parse it
doesn't,
out.
yeah, Dave can figure out what we're actually going to call it. I'm not going to bother because it doesn't sound like it's worth either of our
We
time.
don't need to mention that anymore and him anymore either. So there's no D.
Dave? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
there's no D, right? I keep forgetting.
yeah.
We got to put the D away and just
Put the D
keep
away.
keep this going.
Pull your pants up. Put the D away. And yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those podcasts, isn't it? Uh, so let's look ahead a little bit because we got a game tomorrow
tomorrow.
versus
Wow, yeah, coming right at
Brighton.
us.
Yep, we've got a game on Sunday, I believe.
And I'll be at New Orleans Spurs.
Yep, Sunday. I don't even know who Sunday's match is for. Or is it Saturday? No, it's got to be Sunday, surely.
No, it's the 31st.
All right. All
And
I know is that it's a fucking 9 o'clock game. It's Bournemouth.
it's Bournemouth, right? Yeah.
Bournemouth, 9 o'clock. Oh my God. Jamie's not gonna want to open that.
No, no, she will not. She will not. Oh, I told her we're gonna give her till the after the first of the year. So
Excellent. Awesome.
yeah. So
Perfect.
we're yeah. So anyway, um,
Thick and fast though, Brighton and
thick and
Bournemouth.
fast.
And then we have Burnley too. We're just being assaulted by bees. Brighton, Bournemouth, Burnley all in a row.
Here's the thing, Burnley, yeah, but Burnley, we don't
It's
have to
FA
worry about
Cup, but yeah.
it's FA Cup. It's the next weekend. We don't have another league match until mid January. So that's good. It's good given the fact that um we have
Half our
players that
team's
are
leaving.
trying to work back in while the other half is leaving. So we, after the 31st, we're not going to see Son, we're not going to see Pap, and we're not going to see Basuma. Well, we weren't going to see Basuma anyway. Um, all that said, let's talk a little bit about Brighton because that's the match that's coming up tomorrow, the big match um, that I think is going to set the tone for what's going to happen going forward because if we look back, we've got three matches in a row that we've won. One beautiful, one so-so, one that was kind of nerve-wracking. What do you think we're gonna see?
Uh, it's funny. Right before we started recording this, I saw comments that pretty much summed up tomorrow. It's going to be like the injury derby because Brighton's got like 10 players out too. So I honestly I'm mostly afraid of our back line. I think this is going to turn into one of those games that has the potential to be very high scoring for for Brighton if they press and attack. If we've got Dyer starting, who has again lead in his shoes, cannot turn, gets beaten constantly, that's going to be very dangerous. The interesting thing for me is how our attacking options are going to do versus Brighton's back line because theirs is a little bit all right. Theirs is a lot more stable than ours, assuming that Dyer gets the start. I actually really like Dunk. I think he's a solid player. Um, so it just depends. Can they keep us out long enough to take the game by the horns and really drive it in their direction? Or are we going to pressure them into the early mistakes and make it a much more open game? I look at this point, I have absolutely no idea what's going to come of this. I do think that we're in a lot of danger if we can't, if we can't keep them from pressing us and from driving it. Dyer in particular, who I am singling out because he's just atrocious. Um, Man, it's going to be a long ass game, but if there's one thing that Spurs do have going for us right now, it's that our attacking options have been largely solid, right? Like we've gotten some real work out of Son and Decky and Richarlison over the last few games. That
Brennan's had two
Brennan
had
too, yeah.
Brennan had two goal contributions. He was two assists last game. I mean, he's right there. Pedro Porro's still been playing well. I'm not afraid of anything to do with our attacking options.
No,
I
it's the it's like
It's
you
the
know,
defense, sure.
it's the defense. Yeah.
So here's my take on this is that you're not going to have to worry about seeing Eric Dyer again this year.
You think so?
I'm almost positive. I don't think he's rolling out the same. I think he is going to roll with Skip, especially after the news that Hoiberg's hired an attorney to get his ass out of Tottenham. Um, whether that's ITK or not, we could talk about that another time. But I don't think you're going to see Dyer. I think we're getting Destiny back, so we're going to have Destiny playing on the left, which opens up that spot on the right hand side for Emerson where he played last year and he did a lot. He's done a lot of work over there. I think he's more comfortable on that side of the ball. And I think that he's going to be a guy who's going to be able to play kind of that kind of enforcer type role, while Ben Davis is going to be able to sit back, be comfortable with the fact that he's got somebody to his left that can cover for him when he has to move up, to cover in space for Skippy. I think Skip's got that short up until at least Bentancur comes back, Basuma comes back. Um, so I think that's Skippy's spot to lose. Um,
I mean,
and
you're right. You're
it's not
absolutely
the
right.
nicest thing to think about, but he has played that position before. He's young, he can learn. He's just slower on the turn. He's slower on the ball. Um, he's obviously not our best option there, but we will get some reinforcements in January, and hopefully they come in early, and we get them some time under Ange to train. So um, I think that this game is going to be a game where we're going to have a lot of possession. We're still going to have a lot of possession. They're still going to press us very hard, try and force us to make mistakes, um, which is what Brighton does. They're still going to be very good on the attack. I just don't think that with the injuries that they have, that their midfield is not going to be very good. And I think that plays into our hands because we love to play through the midfield. This is not Tottenham of last year who likes to play up the wings, right? We like to play through the midfield, and that's where all the creativity comes from. We like to invert those wing backs and throw them into the midfield, or not wing backs. Well, that's not what we're calling them, right? We're not calling them backs. We're calling them inverted fullbacks.
I don't know
Um,
what we're. It depends, I think, on the whoever's writing this crap.
yeah, right. I mean, we say fullbacks, halfbacks, three quarterbacks. Those are terms that really don't exist anymore. Those are not positions anymore, but we say fullback still because that kind of describes any four-man back line. But people will play on the right and left. Anywho, off of that, I think that like this is going to be the battle of, like you said, who scores first and who takes the initiative to get out there
And
and
more importantly, who decides to let their foot off the gas? Because we cannot keep doing that.
yeah. And I don't even know if it's tactically like taking our foot off the gas. It's players getting too comfortable with their lead, right? And you know that you want to sit there and scream at the TV, sit back, sit back. You've got that goal, you got that lead. Just sit back and defend, but that's not going to fucking happen. And there's always going to be that oddball that goes over the top to um, some streaking attacker. But fortunately for us right now, the only attacker they really have, the only creative person they really have is Solly Marsh. Um, or not Solly Marsh. Um, who is it? Right? Oh fuck, I've lost his name already.
Pascal Gross.
Pascal Gross, thank you.
Because there's a second where like, so I'm
Oh
I'm
my
I'm just
god.
kind of staring off, like, no, it's Solly Marsh, and it's like, no, it's not.
It's
It's
not Solly
not.
Marsh.
It's
I love
not.
Solly
It's
Marsh. I
Pascal Gross.
I think Solly Marsh is a nice player, but Solly Marsh is hurt. All right, Dave, we'll have to edit that one right there.
Nope, nope. Dave's leaving it all
Oh yeah,
in.
no D.
Right. There's no D. So
All right.
we wait. So if there's no D, is he just going? What is it? He's going to eat it, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
Shit. We should have thought about that.
I know we didn't, did we?
Damn. Oh my God.
We're fucked.
Yeah. Kind of like Spurs with Eric Dyer in defense.
Ah, boy. Here
No,
we
and
go.
then there's Bournemouth. Bournemouth is I think honestly of both of the games that we've got coming up over the next few days, Bournemouth scares me more because of Dominic Solanke, who is actually on form, and him versus Dyer is like, please God, no. Like give me Emerson and Davies in the midfield. Give me Dorrington. Give me fucking Hugo, a potted plant, literally anybody in there but Dyer. I am not looking forward to Bournemouth at all.
They have so Bournemouth is probably the team with in the best form of the Premier League right now. Um, they've picked up something crazy, like something like 21 points from after the first 6 games. Um, I mean, it's been incredibly an incredibly successful run for them. Um, they don't just have Solanke. Um, they have Lloyd Kelly in the back. They have Philip Billing. Like they have guys that are they have Sensei and they also have Ryan Christie. Ryan Christie's fantastic in the midfield. But they have a lot of good young players um that are out there and to prove a point. They're not going to be pushed over. Um this is a team that likes to they will not press you um until they feel like they have an advantage in the game. And
Which,
and
to be
at the,
honest, that could be detrimental to them coming to Spurs and not pressing until they feel like they have the advantage, because we're not going to want to give it to them. Granted, it'll be our second game in 4 days, so like they might get it eventually. It's again, it's just going to be, can we put the game to bed with our early chances? We did it against Everton. And again, Everton was another team that was in really good form going into that fixture. And we came away with the 3 points. So there is, I know I've been really pessimistic and harping on this, oh shit, Dyer's in the defense, sky is falling. But there is reason to have some optimism because he's not stupid. He's not blind. He's going to tell the team to get out there and keep doing exactly what he wants them to do.
and
It's
they'll
up
do
to,
it.
yeah, they will. And it's up to our players to bury those chances. I mean, just think about it. Yes, the Everton game was really close for comfort. The fucking Vicario's dick kept the ball from going into the goal. It was that close.
That's
But
because he's Italian.
yes. But think about it, right? Like if Brennan Johnson converted two of those chances that he kind of skied, a completely different story, right? We're up 4-0, 4-1 when Gomez scores, and it's much more comfortable for us. So, are we going to bury our chances versus Brighton and then versus Bournemouth? Or are we going to spurn them, run out of steam, and then, clench our butt cheeks for the, last 30 minutes plus of the game? Man, I want to say that, look, I'll just say it right now. If everything was full, if we were all healthy, if we had full strength squads, even our opponents, I think Spurs win easy for both games. It's the having to deal with them with injury problems and exhaustion. And man, I want to say that we'll get the points versus at least Brighton. I think 3 points would be an okay result. I think 4 points would be good. If we get all
Hmm.
six, I'll be happy.
I'll be super happy. Of course, we're going to be happy. I mean that probably puts us somewhere around third with a sniff at the top. And for what it's worth, like this Bournemouth team that we're going to be playing is not the Bournemouth team we played back in August, right? They're just not. They've gotten to a spot where they're comfortable. Much like a couple other teams, like you see a team like Luton Town who is not backing down. Like it's just these clubs that come out and they get comfortable um in the spot that they're in. Crystal Palace is another one that gives people a lot of trouble. Um, that they just don't back down from bigger clubs. And whether you want to think Tottenham's a bigger club or not, they are. And a team like Bournemouth is not going to back down. A team like Brighton is not going to back down. Brighton has not been in good form. They can't score goals right now. They can't defend. Um, but they're injured just like Newcastle is. And in the end, I think we need the 6 points to keep pace.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't know that we'll get 6 points. I would be so fucking thrilled if we got 6 points, but like I said, I think four would be respectable. I wouldn't be upset with four, but we definitely can't draw. We can't lose, right? Like that's
Right.
the uh, all things considered, all things equal, we cannot walk away from either of those games with 0 points. That to
The,
me would be an utter abject failure.
the good thing is, Steve, is that right now we're picking up points where we need to pick them up when results haven't gone the way of the teams that are ahead of us. So that's the good thing right
Absolutely.
now. Absolutely.
And with that, it looks like we are just ticking up to that magical hour that that Ave likes so much.
Ave.
Ave, yeah, without the D, can't deal with it. So let's hop into closing thoughts, and I'm going to start with you, Mike, because there's nobody else for me to go to. What are your closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are these, Steve. We have got the extreme pleasure of watching this team develop this first half of this season. We've had this great pleasure of watching this amazing manager come in and do the work with the players that we thought were throwaways last year. Um, Players that are coming back from long loan spells, like some of them 2 year loan spells, right? Um, Players like we had this manager, we had players that were brought in who we didn't know anything about. Uh, we had players like Pedro Porro who was brought in for another coach. Like this team is a hodgepodge of throwaways. This team is a hodgepodge of throwaways of uh, of players that were bought for Pochettino, um, and players that were bought for this coach, new players that we had never heard of before, and I think that we've been treated to something very very special. And I think that coming up through the second half of this season is um we need these points. We can't be dropping points because once we get into April and the beginning of May, we've got a tough schedule. So let's think about this. Let's just get through the end of this year, get through this January bullshit where we lose our captain and our one of our best midfielders, um, and get on the road to recovery when these injured players come back. I don't think there's anything to be really worried about, but it's gonna be tough sledding every single month. We look at the situation we're in. Oh man, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. You know, January is gonna be tough because we're losing everybody. Oh my god, December is gonna be tough. We got 7 fucking games with no players, right? Like, oh, the August is going to be tough because we got a coach that we don't know anything about, and he already told us that it's going to be really, really rough in the beginning. You know, every single month it's tough. This is the Premier League, man. This is not some fucking farmers league. This is not the Belgian. This is not the Belgian professional league. This is not the fucking Czech professional league. This isn't even fucking Scottish Premiership. This is the Premier League. This
This
is
isn't
the
the Harry
number
Kane
one
league.
this is the number one league in the world. This is fucking Sparta. There's not any easy games, man. There's not any easy games, and there's not going to be any easy months. It doesn't get easier. It just gets tougher. And I think that the club, and credit to Daniel Levy, the club, the coach, and the players have all given us something very, very special to watch and to enjoy. And I'm really thankful for it.
Absolutely. Well said, Mike. Well said indeed.
Thanks, Steve.
Do you have anything there you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so we're getting to that point of the show where Ave likes to ask us a special question, and because it's his favorite part of the show. And
Yeah, when he gets to fucking not have to deal with us anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so Steve, do you have any closing thoughts for us today?
My closing thoughts are this. Win, lose, or draw, this season so far has been a revelation for me, right? Big Ange has come in. He has shown us that football can be fun, soccer can be fun. We can watch these games together, we can have fun together. We can lose and not really like feel down and disgusting about ourselves. Um, Unlike with certain other football terrorists that we've had to put up with. It's been enjoyable. We can see that the idea is there. We can see that progress is being made. I think by and large, we know that we are still several pieces shy of being truly competitive. But man, I am so happy to have Big Ange steering us in the correct direction. And that's just not even my biased opinion. It is objectively the correct direction to be bringing this club. And I think, you see that in a lot of the punditry's opinion pieces and whatnot. Everybody is high on Big Ange, and for good reason, right? Like people might want to call him naive. They might want to, say he's bitten off more than he can chew. But at the end of the day, he's getting results. He's getting the players to perform at the level that is expected of them. Not something that world-renowned manager Antonio Conte was able to do. Um, and he's got the fans' approval, right? Like this is an exciting time. And even if we miss out on top four this season, even if everything goes to shit, we can always look back and go, well, we had an entire first team of players injured, suspended, on international duty all at the same time. It was rough. He kept things going. He managed to fucking squeeze water from a stone in certain situations with some of these players who frankly should have been put out the door, many transfer windows ago and haven't.
Sent to the glue factory.
Exactly, right? So, I think you're spot on with your closing thoughts. I think this is going to be an incredible ride. We got to give Ange and a lot of these guys a good deal of grace for this tough period. They're navigating it well. They're saying the right things. The guys who are out on injury are they're chomping at the bit to get back. And to his credit, Ange isn't fucking around with injuries. And that's the other thing that I really appreciate about him. He's not forcing people to play through it. He's not saying, look, you know what? You're a captain, you're the most important guy. Like I need you to just suck it up and get back out there. If there's a suggestion that somebody is in discomfort, that they potentially have an issue, he's not taking chances. He pulls them right off. You're not finishing the game. You're coming off right now. We're going to take care of you. And I love it because when these guys are all back together, when we're all fit and healthy, this is a team that is going to dominate just about every single other team in this league, hands down. And I am so excited, to even for next year, right? The 24-25 season when we can really see he's got a couple more windows, he's got some more players in, the injuries hopefully have recovered by then, but who the fuck knows? I'm loving the direction. It's my long-winded way of saying I'm loving Big Edge instead.
That away, that away. And one more thing is like by the time that we reconvene here in Wicke Spursy land,
Wicke
maybe
Spursy.
it'll be Wicked Spursy again. Um,
Oh, is Dave going to give us the D again?
yeah, he'll give us the D, or we'll give it to him. Um, by
Thanks for
by
coming
then,
back. You've earned this D.
we may have
Been
a new
canceled.
incoming. We might have we might be canceled. Um, we might have a new incoming center back. Who knows? We could have an attacking player. We could have a midfielder. We could have a Conor Gallagher. We could have a Todibo. We could have who the fuck knows? Sky is the limit here. So let's just kind of ride this wave. And Steve, if you were to have any last words for folks out there in Wicked Spursy Land, what would you say to them?
Quiz, 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 quiz.
And
Don't be an asshole. And Mike, if you had any final words for those out in Wiki Spursy land, what would you say to them?
Uh, I would say, guys, those Everton fans that came and watched with us the other day, they gave me COVID. Um, and if you are in a supporters group, don't let those people in your pub. Um,
Keep Evertonians out.
and also, like, just be safe. Just be safe.
Be safe. And anything else? I know there's one
And
more thing.
Tottenham Hotspur action.